And it's 10, Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy is one of the new Glamrock animatronics in Security Breach. He is obviously the Glamrock version of Freddy Fazbear. Glamrock Freddy is based off the original Freddy Fazbear, but with an early UK 1970s vibe. Similar to Toy Freddy, he has a top hat, now with the thin blue stripe just above its brim. His microphone is now on a stand in which Glamrock Freddy holds so he can pull some sweet moves. And he is more rectangular in shape, but we still love a blocky boy. A light blue stripe is seen at the center of his bottom jaw. Glamrock Freddy within the game is Gregory's protector, attempting to help him survive until 6 AM and escape, with the player being able to climb into his stomach, which is being referred to as the birthday cake hatch on the PlayStation blog, and take control and hide from and evade other animatronics in certain sections. However, this usage is limited, and he will lose power and be forced to recharge before you can use him again. He was voiced by Kellen Goff, who also voiced Funtime Freddy in Sister Location, Rockstar Freddy, Mr. Hippo, and Funtime Foxy in Ultimate Custom Night, and an unused Bonnie voice from FNAF VR. And at 9, Glamrock Chica. This version of Chica is an antagonist. She is the Glamrock version of the original Chica, but these could also just be potentially reused toy animatronics. Just like the other members of the Glamrocks, she is dressed in a 1970s vibe. She is a white pink chicken with an orange beak, blue eyes, pink eyelids, and long eyelashes and orange feet, because you know, all chickens have this. She also has a few stray feathers that stick out from the top of her head and kinda act like hair with a pink bow around them, visible pink metal segments below her left eye, and a pink eyeliner above her right eye. Just like her toy and Funtime counterparts, this version of Glamrock Chica is noticeably more curvy, rather than simply round as like the original Chica is, which is gonna mean a whole lot more fan art. Chica also holds a blueberry blue and hot pink star-shaped guitar, and just like all of the Glamrocks, her eyes can be seen glowing red at times, which could also indicate facial recognition, just like the original toy animatronics had, even though it didn't really work because it was programmed by a serial killer. And at 8, Montgomery Gator. As an antagonist, Montgomery is an animatronic based on an alligator. He's actually the first animatronic to be based on a reptile. Just like the other members of the Glamrocks, he is designed to have a punk rock theme, thus dressed in an early 1970s aesthetic, and Monty is overall just colored green with patches of yellow on his stomach, jaw, and subsegments on his tail, and spots on his reptilian textured body, cause, you know, apparently the wiki had to specify that. He bears a red mohawk and a green colored suit of armor, which you won't be able to see on the green screen, cause you know, it's green. He has sharp teeth and claws painted in black, his eyelids, a streak-like paint on the muzzle, feet, and hands, excluding the fingers, are also tinted a purple color, and Montgomery ends up helping the Glamrock animatronic band as a bassist, although the fisherman in me wants to say bassist. He seems to be very tough or strong since we see him burst through a gate in the first gameplay trailer, as well as destroying a prop turret in the second, which is the most recent one. In Fury's Rage, he's also shown to be very self-loving and egotistical, stating that when he's defeated, "How can I lose? I'm so handsome." And honestly, I relate. And at 7, Fixed Spring Trap or Scrap Trap. Fixed Scrap Trap doesn't sound scary at first, and then you see what some fans have done with this design, and then you crap your pants. The eyes for many of these versions is what makes it unsettling. The fact that everything on this animatronic looks put together and almost brand new, save for the fact that you can still kinda tell that there's someone in the suit, is off-putting. And someone who might not even really be doing well and is likely dead yeah. The contrast of the clean suit with the manic eyes of it, there's something very unhinged about this version. I'm getting the vibes for that, really. And including this in the game could serve as William's new body, because I'm pretty sure he will unfortunately be coming back, despite my constant pleas to kill him off permanently, because for some reason everyone thinks we'll be able to redeem Vanny, which means that we'll need a villain, but I don't think so. I don't think there's any saving this bitch. And at 6, Daycare Attendant. The Daycare Attendant, as it's referred to on the wiki, is actually just the Sundance or Moondrop animatronic that we've been seeing since the first trailer. The Daycare Attendant features a crescent moon-shaped head, with half of it being colored in black to fill in the missing portion. Its face is a large nose and large grin, coupled with 2 red glowing eyes, one of which is above the tip of its nose, because you know, we gotta love that. Its hands are the same white color with dark blue fingernails, it wears 2 leather wristbands and ribbons coming off of them, and a light blue nightcap and baggy pants covered in stars. In its Sun version, it's colored almost entirely out of various shades of yellow. Its pants are now yellow and covered in brown stripes, and it has large yellow triangles protruding from its head to emulate those of the sun. You know how like kids draw suns? It's like that. Plus, its voice is just creepy as hell, especially in moon mode. If you've watched the last trailer, holy crap. It's also implied through the trailer that Sundance might actually be a guide, sticking close to the player and warning them about the time. Once it reaches a certain point though, like at night, Sundance will end up turning into Moondrop and then chase after the player. However, I haven't gotten the chance to play the game yet. Like I said, I'm playing it in like 20-30 minutes or something like that. When I take my lunch break, I'm going home to play it. So I'm unable to substantiate this claim at this time. But I'll be able to in like an hour. Halfway through in number 5, Glamrock Puppet. Again, every time I make a list about discussing creepy animatronics, a freaking puppet always makes it on. That's mostly because the puppet is a freaky character to begin with, and I feel like the phone guy whenever I call the puppet creepy, but it is creepy. And the Glamrock Puppet is no exception. This character wasn't originated in the Furries Rage game like I figured it would be, but instead it's just like a separate design that no matter what just looks like it wants to bring me to the back of the pizza joint to show me how the pepperoni gets put on the pizza. And no, I don't mean literally. Yes, that was an allusion to something else. And not only does it come with its own creepy ass concept art, but it also comes with Minecraft skins, because of course it f***ing does. This is one of the weirdest versions of the puppet, not taking into account Scrap Puppet, Withered Puppet, or Reaper Puppet from Final Nights 3. This is like the 4th weirdest and scariest puppet, and there's nothing really scary about it. It feels wrong to me, and the whole pepperoni thing. And at 4, Destroyed Roxanne Wolf. In the 3rd episode of Freddy and Friends, a damaged Roxanne is shown for a single frame. While it's hard to make out what she looks like due to the severe glitches, because you know, of course, she appears to have her eyes missing, as well as her now missing a large chunk of her face around the eyes. It is possible that she will have glowing robotic eyes similar to the ones of Withered Bonnie, or I guess the Alpha Z group. I'm still gonna call them Nightmare Mini Arenas because it's just easier. But in a poster Steel Wool released around last Christmas, it shows Roxanne holding a bag of coal with a sour expression. This could be implying that Roxanne is a somewhat rude, mischievous, and sour person. Or I guess, thing. Personality. She has a bad personality. She also seems to be the most aggressive of the animatronics, as she can be seen chasing the player as well as clamping her jaw while attempting to push through a metal gate. So basically she's the animatronic version of my father. Since also Roxanne seems to wander around the Pizzaplex aimlessly until spotting Gregory and then charging at him. Kinda like my father does. It's likely that when inside Glamrock Freddy she won't notice the player at all, and will just still stand in place. Kinda like my dad too. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, Nightmare Glamrocks. Nightmare versions are designed to be the scariest versions of their respective animatronic, and you know what? I get it. That's why there are so many fan-made versions of them, because while elements like rugged exosuits and stomach mouths are common, you can only do so much with those. You can head anywhere else from your own imagination, same with scrap versions. However, these Nightmare versions are something else. Considering their pristine appearance in the trailers and promo images, well, with the exception of Chica, there's a stark contrast between these two versions. The normal Glamrocks and the Nightmare Glamrocks, jeez. There just seems to be the ultimate nightmare aesthetic going on with these characters specifically, even more so than like Twisted Funtime Freddy. I don't know why these animatronics specifically make me think that way, but maybe it's because like Glamrock Chica is my babe, but like now, even still. Glamrock Bonnie isn't even a thing yet, but their Nightmare Glamrock is, I still want it in the game. But with the amount of jackassery that comes from these FNAF games, I wouldn't doubt it if Scott just threw these in to make a more solid connection between Gregory and Crying Child. Either because it's canon or because he wants to mess with us. Because that's something he would do, especially when he's leaving and the person next to him, or the person after him, has to clean up his mess. Penultimately, in at number 2, Music Man Spider. Security Breach introduces a new variant of Music Man who is much larger. The wiki calls him DJ Music Man, but it also says that that's just the placeholder and it will be replaced once something official comes out. Personally, I still prefer my name of Music Man Spider, mostly because it's a reference to Spider-Man from the 90s cartoon. This Music Man is extremely similar in head shape to the original, however many of the details have been swapped out. And he now has blue eyebrows and cheeks as well as pink nose and lipstick. His top hat now holds a green stripe, and the top row of his teeth are decorated to look like piano keys. He now dons a large pair of green and red headphones and wears big cartoony gloves on 6 spider-like limbs. Finally, this variant of Music Man is much larger than in the original, being about a story tall, with this character being teased in the 2nd or 3rd Freddy and Friends cartoon. I believe it was the 3rd if I remember correctly. And the fact that MatPat was not only able to call it, but also have it be revealed shortly after he did call it, that's what makes me know that he is the true king of FNAF, okay? Despite Dawko and Markiplier's sub count, and despite the amount of videos that I've made on the subject. We have like almost a year's worth of FNAF videos, guys, okay? That's concerning. And finally, into number 1, Tentacle Monster. Now, this unknown tentacle-based animatronic could be one of many things, and is something MatPat talks about in his latest theories. However, while most people associate tentacles with Nightmare On, it would be very weird to see them appear in this game, since technically speaking, they're just like Freddy Fazbear in our universe. Since, while yes, they appeared in FNAF 4, their appearance in that game was not canon. However, their appearance in the Night Terrors of FNAF VR was canon. Therefore, in the FNAF universe, they only exist as a video game character canonically, so seeing them appear in the real world would be confusing, but not impossible given that Glitch Trap is currently sentient code and also seems to be pulling things out of the Fazbear archives. More on that in a couple days, because I recorded that video a while ago, but I think it's going out like Sunday should be the release. That's on Sunday. I'll talk more about whatever Glitch Trap's doing. However, MatPat proposed that this animatronic revealed at the end of the first Freddy and Friends video is actually Baby, like we see here in the Fazbear Frights epilogues. And while that could be the case, I don't know how accurate that can be. Considering how the final book revealing this twist, they were said to come out after the initial release of Security Breach. So perhaps that was the intention, that it would be Baby, but it would have just been a mystery in this game and then revealed properly in the books, but now the surprise is kind of spoiled, but oh well, it's still something. And at 10, Glamrock Foxy. Speaking of not wanting to deal with additional lore, Glamrock Foxy would add a really unnecessary amount of just sheer annoyance to the game. At this point, Roxy is basically the love child of Foxy and Bonnie, and I say this every time. He even has a name that reflects the whole Foxy thing, okay? Since Roxy is just a combination of Rock and Foxy. I mean, like, I'm sure that's not intentional. Like, Roxy is an actual name that people have, but I figured that I'd mention it anyway because it's still like a combination of both words. And she plays the guitar, so there's a link to Bonnie. However, the main issue with this is just the fact that, like, Foxy is like a scarier Bonnie. I know all the die-hard Bonnie stans are gonna come for my balls or something in the comments, but like, hey, look, I get that Scott had nightmares about him, okay? But honestly, there's just no contest between these two characters. Bonnie isn't actually scary. Yet the Glamrock versions that I see for Foxy fit in well. And considering the Pyrite Easter egg that seemingly introduces another Foxy, I talk about that in the top 10 tiny details you missed in the FNAF Security Breach trailers video, we might very well get a special version of this OG animatronic. Or we might already have one running around and we just haven't seen him in the trailer. And at 9, Spider Ballora. Anyone who knows me knows I hate spiders. Big, small, poisonous, venomous, non-aggressive, any form of spider deserves to die, and if it's near me, hopefully it will. And while the Havoc puppet is messed up, if you know me, if you've watched any other fan videos, you'll know the Havoc puppet. The spider version of Ballora is literally called Spider Ballora, and I hate it with all my guts. While a couple of Nightmare Balloras have spider legs, this takes it to the next level. Her original form of crawling like a spider was already bad enough in my eyes, but now I have to deal with literally 3 eyes, 8 legs, a thorax, and 6 arms. What the hell? Man, why on God's green earth would you create this unholy monstrosity of a creature? Like, this is the kind of thing even Satan wouldn't approve of. When you die and you have to walk down the stairs to hell, Satan's gonna hide behind the gate and tell you to just keep walking. This is true horror, and I don't care what you think. You don't think it's scary? Good for you, but I'm not sleeping tonight. And with the introduction of the Music Man spider animatronic thing, whatever that unholy creation is, more spider animatronics, unfortunately, are now par for the course. And I don't want to deal with it. And at 8, Shadow Fredbear. Shadow Fredbear is almost perfectly intact, only burnt black in color, and he has a few rips on his body and is missing his left hand. The area around his mouth appears torn slightly as well, revealing a majority of his endoskeleton teeth, and his teeth and eyes glow, which makes it easier to see. Wonderful. Imagine if this animatronic had gums though. If he did, that would probably be the scariest thing on this list. But, like, the absolute monstrosity that would have been created just by giving this character gums is... I don't want to talk about it. My genius is sometimes terrifying. But, nonetheless, this is still creepy without gums, okay? Especially because this dude is... like, he looks like the FNAF VR jump scare that's just like the glowing eyes or nose and mouth that are like glowing red. It's like that, okay? It's weird. This dude is powerful, and he replaces most of the other animatronics on Night 5 of Final Nights 2. However, with the connections that Gregory and the Crying Child seem to share, perhaps Shadow Fredbear would be a way to enhance that connection further. Or it could be a hallucination or manifestation created by Glitchtrap in an effort to scare us into submission so he can be sacrificed or whatever the hell he wants from us. And at 7, Roblox. I looked up Glamrock versions of characters, and somehow I kept getting loads of different Roblox versions of the FNAF animatronics. And this is goddamn terrifying for me. Why do you ask? Well, because it's Roblox. I don't like Roblox. The only good Roblox game is paintball, and that's it, okay? Anytime we talk about Roblox, I feel an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me, because ever since that list about like the worst things that people did on Roblox or something along those lines, I've seen the Roblox community as horrifically toxic and just something I can't really stand. Especially with the comments on like that one time I played Roblox on the channel and everyone got mad at me for just playing paintball, but like that environment combined with FNAF, which is already the bane of my existence at this point, and you get some pretty horrifying experiences that I don't want to deal with. And at 6, Twisted Funtime Freddy. While there are a plethora of twisted animatronics, both from the mind of Scott Cawthon and others, none are quite as terrifying as Twisted Funtime Freddy. Twisted Funtime Freddy combines the nightmare design of previous animatronics with basically everything else that you would find terrifying in an animatronic. Like, I don't know why the teeth have to be angled slightly outward, and like, I don't know what it is about this animatronic that makes it so much more terrifying than everything else, but it worked. It doesn't matter. Even if it's not pointed outward, I think the mixture of the visuals plus the thought of them also being able to move their face plates from being underground and still twisted but moving, it just, everything culminates in my brain and just causes panic. Like, it's like a sensory overload, but with FNAF, and honestly that's what FNAF does to me nowadays. These are freaking nuts, and I don't know what it is about it. It's in essence a nightmare animatronic, but seems so much worse. Plus, it's a way to work in the different twisted animatronics into the game lore, including the canon ones and additional fan ones maybe. Halfway through into number 5, the Alpha Z group. Staff robots are much more humanoid, futuristic, and sci-fi themed than previous characters. Their bodies look very segmented, with torsos being a very small semicircle shape, and the legs being like a tower with 2 wheels. The robots have the word staff painted on their backs, and the color scheme of the robots are off-white with blue accents and large orange cheeks. Certain staff bots also hold different clothing depending on their job. One such is wearing a sombrero as a waiter in the El Chip restaurant, and one is wearing a cap and holding a flashlight as a patrol guard. A group of staff robots, though, known as the Alpha Z group, are abandoned staff robots seen in the trash zone. These variants are much dirtier and duller in color due to just being abandoned and, you know, in the trash, and their faces have tears and large toothy smiles drawn on them. Their lower arms have black stripes drawn on them, and they have the words "in your dreams" written across their chests. Finally, each one has 2 small glowing pupils in the center of their cold black eyes. These are the Nightmare Mini-Arenas, as I was calling them, that we saw teased in the first Freddy and Friends cartoon, as well as the ones that appear in the final trailer for Security Breach right at the end. So they're not Nightmare Mini-Arenas, which honestly is, that's fine with me. I'm glad that that's the case. And at 4, Nights At Freddy. This game could also serve as a link between game worlds if that's the plan. A breach in the security of the dimensional barrier, if you will. Scott would stretch a title like that, let's be honest. And Ignited Freddy is one of the main antagonists of the Joy of Creation fan game, which will have a new Ignited collection released as part of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative. In this game, you play as Scott Cawthon, whose creations have escaped from the game and are coming after you. Ignited Freddy appears to be a burnt and charred Freddy Fazbear animatronic. He has no bottom jaw, he's exposed his endoskeleton's bottom set of rusty teeth, his left ear is also missing. Ignited Freddy, he wears a top hat though. We love a classy gentleman, like his original counterpart. Both of his hands are also missing, along with the suit on his shins and his left forearm. He has no real eyes, only black holes with white pupils, but adding this to the game could serve as a way to connect the fanverse to the main universe and get fans excited for the Fanverse Initiative games in an interesting way. Getting close to the end into number 3, Blacklight Glamrocks. Some of the Blacklight versions of Glamrock animatronics are absolutely horrifying. While I'm not sure if the plushie versions are official products, the fan blender versions for the characters are freaking nuts. Chica with blue skin is not only off-putting but actually haunting. Same with a yellow Roxy. These are like if the Glamrock animatronics were Pokemon and then like these were the shiny versions of them. So far, the only Blacklight animatronics that we know of are the ones from Help Wanted that only really appeared in the animatronic maintenance minigames in Blacklight mode, but that were never used again and that we don't really get to see. It's terrifying to think about the lore implications as well. Like if this place turns off the light at night, but then turns on like a black light or something, like how do they change color? How are they not just neon whatever their color is? Because these peeps are colorful as hell. So why not just glow your own damn colors? See, my head is starting to hurt even just thinking about these things. Just please keep them away from me. And ultimately, in at number 2, Glamrock Puppet. Every time I make a list discussing creepy animatronics, every single time, without fail, a freaking puppet makes it on the list. That's mostly because the puppets are freaking terrifying, man. And I feel like the phone guy whenever I talk about it, but like, the puppet is creepy. And the Glamrock Puppet is no exception. This character wasn't originated in the Fury's Rage game like I figured. Yes, I actually called it by its proper name this time. But instead, it's just a separate design. Just no matter what, it just looks like it wants to bring me to the back of the pizza joint to show me where it puts the salami. I don't mean literally, but like, you get what I mean. And not only does it come with its own creepy concept art, but it also comes with Minecraft skins, because of course it does. This is one of the weirdest versions of the puppet, not taking into account Scrap Puppet, Wither Puppet, or Reaper Puppet from Final Nights 3. Yet this design, it also still fits into Security Breach, and considering how we got a version in Fury's Rage, maybe we should get a version in the full game. Hopefully it doesn't float though. And finally, in at number 1, Glamrock Bonnie. I think the freakiest part about Glamrock Bonnie is the fact that they're not going to be in the game. So as far as I can tell, the only mention of Bonnie will be in the bowling alley that we probably aren't really gonna get to use, but for the most part, like with the rest of the animatronics, these designs aren't really scary, well aside from the Minecraft model. What's with people and making Minecraft animations for all these FNAF characters? The game hasn't even come out yet. Freaking Glamrock Puppet, freaking Glamrock Bonnie, just chill out. Either way, these versions, aside from one from a Twitter user called Manute Art, aren't really all that menacing, but the idea that people are creating additional animatronics is scary enough to me, because I don't want to deal with the additional lore that would come from that. But these designs are incredible, so maybe I could deal with it if it's just like one of these versions that was included in the game. Just make sure that it's like one of the first few you see, okay Scott? Don't scroll down too much, trust me, it's not worth it. The rules of the internet are there to protect you. And at 10, FNAF 2020. These Glamrock animatronics are from the FNAF 2020 series of drawings from DeviantArt user Senior Artsy, who I believe we've seen on this channel before in some other fan versions videos. However, I don't want to call out one animatronic specifically, but rather the whole collection of Glamrock versions from this 2020 set, because while yes, these animatronics will mostly be in the game, with the exception of some like Bonnie, these color palettes and designs are much more sinister than their previous versions, especially Vanny and Freddy. Since giving Freddy a panda face, I don't know why, but just for some reason makes me kinda scared of him, and I think it's because the rest of his body isn't a panda and it's just his face, so it's like he's wearing a mask and gonna rob you or something. I don't know the psychology behind it, but I think we can all agree, especially that Vanny looks like she should not be playing in a kid's game. And at 9, Glamrock Bonnie. I think the freakiest part about Glamrock Bonnie is just the fact that they're not going to be in the game. So far as I know at least, the only mention of Bonnie will be a bowling alley that we probably aren't gonna get to use, but for the most part, like with the rest of these animatronics, the designs aren't scary. Well, aside from the Minecraft model. Like, what's with people and making Minecraft animations for FNAF characters? And like FNAF, I don't understand it. I'd also like it to be noted that instead of animations, I spelled animatronics when I was writing that list initially, and I also did it again while writing this line. That's how much FNAF has taken over my life. I can't write animation anymore. So I hope you people are happy. But either way, these versions, aside from one version from a Twitter user called Manute Art, aren't really all that menacing. But the idea that people are creating additional animatronics is scary enough for me, because I don't want to deal with the additional lore that would come from that, okay? And at 8, Glamrock Foxy. Speaking of not wanting to deal with additional lore, Glamrock Foxy would also add a lot of unnecessary amount of annoyance to the game. At this point, Roxy is basically the love child of Foxy and Bonnie, and even has a name that kind of reflects on the whole like meant to be Foxy thing, since Roxy is just a combination of Rock and Foxy. Like, it's also an actual name, but I figured I'd mention that it's basically a combination of the two words, and she plays guitar, and so there's a link to Bonnie. However, the main issue with this comes from the fact that Foxy is just, it's scarier than Bonnie. I know all you die-hard Bonnie stans are gonna come for me, and I get that Scott had nightmares about him, but honestly, there's just no contest between these two characters. Foxy is scarier than Bonnie, and that means that his Glamrock would end up being scarier as well, especially if you take the toy animatronics as an example. The Glamrocks are very close design-wise to the toys, so keeping that in mind, the toy variant of Foxy is still scarier than Bonnie's. Case closed. And in 7, Roxanne Wolf. Roxanne Wolf appears to be based on the female version of Wolf from Freddy in Space 2, which is a side-scrolling fighter game individually developed and published by Scott Cawthon for Game Theory's 9-hour St. Jude Children's Research Hospital fundraiser. It is the sequel to the original FNAF 57, Freddy in Space from FNAF World. This game was made for a FNAF fan named Skylar. He had a YouTube channel named Skylar Ginn, but Skylar unfortunately had cancer and died on October 6, 2019. Just as the other members of the Glamrocks, Roxy's dressed in the 1970s, more like 80s vibe. Her facial features greatly resemble both Foxy and Mangle, most notably with the lipstick and her amber eyes, and Roxanne, however, has visible metal segments below her eyes to resemble whiskers, but I don't know why they're very clearly metal. It's kind of weird. Opposed to the red cheeks like Mangle does. Roxanne's ears also have a light gray center lined at the edges with a gray outline, and she has 2 earrings on both ears, which is 4 more earrings than I have. And at 6, Withered Glamrock Freddy. I've said it before, Withered animatronics are probably some of the weirdest and creepiest animatronics there are. I personally find Withered Bonnie way creepier than Nightmare Bonnie, probably because of the whole lack of a face thing. But with the new Glamrock animatronics on their way in a month, it was only a matter of time before someone withered them. Searching Withered Chica only really gets you pictures of like Chica from the Broken teasers and the trailer, so instead I'm going with Withered Glamrock Freddy because these are creepy as hell. Every version of Withered Glamrock Freddy makes me concerned that we're climbing into his belly to pilot him like some really energy inefficient mech suit. Like, thinking about it, that's a really bad idea. This guy not only looks scary, but also made me realize the error of Gregory's ways, which makes him even worse. When we ultimately do get crushed at the end of this game, I'm calling it now so that when it does happen I can say I called it. This is how I imagine Glamrock Freddy looking. Or, if this is post FNAF 3 and the company has been ruined, maybe this is what the animatronics look like, except they're using those sound illusion discs to make us think otherwise. Halfway through, in at number 5, FNAF AR. FNAF AR Special Delivery is certainly an interesting game, but the animatronics present in that game are even more interesting. With skins like Clown Springtrap and Arctic Ballora, it's always cool to see new takes on our favorite animatronics. Get it? Because she's Arctic. However, the cooler thing would be to see these animatronics in Security Breach. I mean, we've already seen some of them in the Furry's Rage video game, which saw us fighting waves of enemies throughout the Pizzaplex, so why not just put them in the main game? Especially some of the fan-made versions from that game, because those are way cooler than anything in the actual game itself, okay? It could help explain why the animatronics that should be dealt with are back, especially since it's an argument as to why any of these animatronics should actually be added, because it would mess with the lore of what we already know. See yesterday's list for me using that reason multiple times to explain why even some of these animatronics on this list shouldn't be added to the game. But hey, I'm all about contradicting myself, okay? It gets people talking in the comments. Speaking of which, who do you want to see in Security Breach who isn't like actually like confirmed? Like, don't say, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing no, don't do that. Who do you want to see in Security Breach who isn't confirmed yet? Let me know that you actually made it this far into the video by answering that question in the comments. And at 4, Glamrock Plush. Okay, so technically these are official and licensed plushies, so they're not really fan-made, but there are other versions on Etsy that are actually fan-made, so there are some fan-made versions. And honestly, those are the ones that you should be getting, because look at these fucking things. Why are the Glamrock Security Breach plushies so funky looking? They look horrible. Like, this was actually so much of an issue that many people had with these plushies that it caused a bit of an uproar within the community when they were first revealed. Not only that, but because, you know, Funko has a history of just leaking everything for some reason, and they don't look like the other plushies that they've released before. Like, if you're gonna make real plushies, at least make them look the same as they did in the VR games, so that we can like actually really see them and hold them, because we've already seen them before. It's not that hard hard, guys. Really? These Security Breach Glamrock plushes are some of the worst proportioned and most horrifying plushies I've seen. And I saw the one that Scott Lang gave to his daughter in Ant-Man, and the bloodthirsty minion my father gave to my sister. These are still the most horrific ones that I've seen, though, okay? If I had these, I would be scared for my life. Although, mentioning that, they are on my Amazon wish list, so if you guys want to... I'm just kidding, I don't have an Amazon wish list, I'm not a girl. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, Destroyed Glamrock Chica. A broken Glamrock Chica animatronic can be found in the sewer area, or I guess it's kind of sewers, but it's also kind of not. It's cracked and broken all over the body. We saw this in the final teaser image from that one doco stream. She has paint scraping off the legs and face, and her beak has been broken off, exposing her endoskeleton jaw. The lower left side of her torso also has a massive hole in it, and the plastic suit on her left arm is entirely missing, with the exception of her wrist. Glamrock Chica seems to wander around the Pizzaplex aimlessly as well until spotting Gregory and charging at him, but in her destroyed state, she seemingly runs a little faster. I guess maybe she's more aerodynamic, you know, because like all the air gets through. It's not stopped by the animatronic chassis, you know, flows through the robotic parts. I don't know. But when inside Glamrock Freddy, she doesn't notice the player at all. She'll just stand in place. But you're also able to like knock over like paint cans and stuff to distract her so that she can move away and then you can go, but you gotta be careful. Gotta do that fast. And ultimately, in at number 2, Nightmare Glamrocks. Nightmare animatronics are designed to be the scariest versions of their respective animatronics. And that's why there are so many fan-made versions, because while elements like rugged exosuits and stomach mouths are common, you can really just head anywhere, same with scrap versions. However, these Nightmare versions are something else. Considering their original pristine appearance in the trailers and promo images, well, with the exception of Chica, there is a stark contrast between the two versions. They seem to be just the ultimate nightmare aesthetic going on with these characters specifically. I don't know why these animatronics specifically make me think that way, because maybe it's because like Glamrock Chica is my babe, but now she's not, but like even still. Glamrock Bonnie isn't even a thing yet, but their Nightmare Glamrock version is scarier than their normal Nightmare version. Stay away from these, don't look them up, although you've already seen them because it's in the edit. So, I'm sorry. And finally, in at number 1, Scrap Glamrock Animatronics. With Security Breach releasing in less than a month, we had to include a group of animatronics as scrapped versions on this list. And honestly, it's actually a good idea, considering how Chica in that promotional image seems pretty scrapped already. They really wouldn't have to do much to make that work out. However, the versions that I've actually seen are scarily horrific in a way that makes me concerned if they'll be in the real game. I don't think these would be in the game, but based on my old theory that I had about how these characters are kind of acting like zombies and like eating animatronic, or I guess not animatronic, but like other robotic parts. This look just makes me feel too right, especially when we see in the trailer Chica getting progressively more destroyed. I feel like this might actually end up being a thing. These animatronics being made into scrap animatronics are honestly some of the freakiest custom scrap versions that I've seen. This is some freaky scrap. I tried to stay away from anything like that was like too pristine, I guess. Because like what I used to do in previous alternate fan version videos was just look up adjectives. Like if it was like scary nightmare and like fan versions, I would just look up like withered nightmare, something else nightmare. I would just add that. I would just add adjectives to Nightmare's name. So I tried to avoid that this time, but scrap and nightmare are always a classic way to go, okay? If there's gonna be a Halloween update for this game though, Scott, or I guess Steel will at this point, you need to add these. That would be fun.